For the residents of Zaporizhzhia, the sense of dread is palpable. Ukrainian intelligence has sounded the alarm, warning of a possible Russian assault on the city, located just 30 kilometers from the front lines, according to The Economist. While the exact timing of the attack remains uncertain, Zaporizhzhia's strategic significance amplifies the anxiety. The city stands as one of Ukraine's last industrial hubs, vital to maintaining the country's economic resilience. Vladimir Putin intensified tensions in late 2022 by declaring the entire Zaporizhzhia province as Russian territory. This bold claim came after a rigged referendum, despite Moscow controlling only a third of the region. For 2 months now, Russian missiles and glide bombs have relentlessly hammered the city, reducing 1,500 homes to rubble. Yet, the growing Russian military presence around Zaporizhzhia suggests a far larger offensive may be on the horizon. Ukrainian forces are bracing for impact. According to The Economist, a Ukrainian military spokesperson has cautioned that as many as 130,000 Russian troops could be deployed in the coming days. An attack on the city might be central to Russia's broader strategy, though not all military personnel believe an assault is imminent. Colonel Oleksiy Kilchenko, leading the newly deployed Spartan Rapid Response Brigade, has suggested that Russia's priorities are still divided. Initial plans for a large-scale offensive involving 20,000 to 30,000 troops were reportedly scaled back, with many units redirected to fortify Russian positions in Kursk. Despite this, Ukrainian commanders remain wary. Battalion Commander Lemberg, stationed in Zaporizhzhia's southwestern defenses, warns of a swift and devastating strike if and when Russia decides to act. The first blow will be the hardest, he asserts. Ukraine is leaving no stone unturned. Concentric rings of fortifications are emerging around Zaporizhzhia, reflecting fears of a catastrophic attack. These defenses include minefields, engineering barriers, and reinforced concrete structures designed to delay any potential Russian advance. Meanwhile, in neighboring Donetsk, Russian forces are unrelenting. The region remains a hotbed of intense combat, with Moscow adapting its tactics to gain the upper hand. Drones, electronic warfare, and air-launched bombs are increasingly complemented by waves of infantry assaults. Russian military strategy has evolved, favoring encirclement and supply line disruption over direct frontal attacks. This grimly effective formula has given Moscow significant leverage on the battlefield. On the Ukrainian side, manpower shortages have become a critical concern. Recruitment targets remain unmet, and officials warn that by spring, the situation could become untenable. Compounding the issue is the declining quality of recruits. Battalion Commander Forrest, from the 65th Brigade, laments that many new soldiers are either too old or unfit for the rigors of war. Some recruits are over 45 years old, with health conditions that hinder their effectiveness in combat. Morale among Ukrainian troops in Zaporizhzhia is faltering. Increasingly, soldiers are questioning the cost of continued resistance. Amid these challenges, President Volodymyr Zelensky has urged his generals to stand shoulder to shoulder with their troops on the front lines. At the Third International Grain from Ukraine conference, Zelensky addressed the escalating situation, particularly in Kursk. He claimed that Vladimir Putin is determined to push Ukrainian forces out of the region by January 20th next year.
For Putin, the most important thing is to push us out of the Kursk region. And all these stories, all these demonstrative strikes with new missiles are not just for show. He has set this task. I am sure he wants to push us out by January 20th next year. It is very important for him to demonstrate that he is in control of the situation, but he is not in control of the situation.
As the war drags on, it has entered a more dangerous phase. The stakes are escalating rapidly. In a significant policy reversal, US President Joe Biden approved the use of American longer-range missiles inside Russian territory. This decision came as Russia unveiled its latest intermediate-range ballistic missile, the Oreshnik, which it claims is impervious to current air defense systems. At a recent military meeting, Vladimir Putin praised the missile's capabilities, vowing to continue its production and deployment to reach targets across Europe.
As already said, we will continue tests, including in combat, depending on the situation and the character of security threats created for Russia, especially since we have built a stockpile of such products and such systems ready for use. No one in the world has such weapons yet, as we know, as you know. Sooner or later, other leading countries will also get them. We are aware that they are under development. But it will happen tomorrow, in the future, in a year or 2 years, while we have this system now. And this is important.
Despite Moscow's claims, Zelensky remains confident that global air defense systems can counter the threat. He called on allies to act decisively, warning that Russia must not be allowed time to adapt.
The world has air defense systems capable of countering such threats. Everyone must focus on this. Russia must feel that every step it takes to expand the war has consequences for it. Those consequences are reflected in our actions at the front, in the actions of our warriors, our units. They are also reflected in the actions of the world, in how the world responds. Putin cannot be given a single week to adapt or find countermeasures. We must consistently do everything to force Russia into seeking peace, true peace. This can only be achieved through two things: helping Ukraine and pressuring Russia.
The escalating missile tests and policy shifts underscore the conflict's volatility. As Ukraine pushes for peace, its leaders emphasize the need for international support and sanctions to pressure Moscow into de-escalation. Now, nearing its third year, this war continues to test the resilience of both nations with no clear end in sight.